Good evening.
Recording in progress.
Good evening. This is a regular meeting of the Select Board for Tuesday, February 15th, 2022. A reminder that the second virtual community forum for the town's housing production plan update will be held February 23rd at 7 p.m. on Zoom. At the February forum, there will be a review of community feedback from the January community forum and discussion of goals and challenges to accommodate a variety of affordable and mixed income housing in Brookline. As well, the town's consultant team will introduce and consider approaches to identifying zoning districts, areas, and sites for future development of affordable and mixed income housing in Brookline. You can register for the event at the town's Housing Production Plan webpage. While you're there, I'd also encourage you to take an online community survey to tell us about your housing goals and priorities for Brookline's future. I hope you all can participate by attending the forum and taking the survey. Any other announcements or updates by board members? Seeing none, maybe we can just slide right into public comment.
All right, sounds great. I'll just say briefly, I was at an event earlier at the Brookline Teen Center around celebrating Black entrepreneurship. It was fantastic. Just a reminder, we've got such great nonprofits operating in Brookline, and that's one of them. So let's go into public comment, though. Thank you for joining us for public comment. This is an opportunity for us to hear your perspective on the issues in Brookline that matter to you. We do have a few rules I'd like to share. Each person speaking tonight is limited to 3 minutes. You don't need to use the entire time, but you may if you like. Please refrain from personal attacks and from addressing personnel issues during your comments. Members of the public sometimes raise questions during public comment. We may be able to provide a quick answer to a question, but are more likely to work with staff to get a more thorough answer and respond over email. We'll let you know when you have 30 seconds remaining, and when your time is up, please conclude your remarks at that time. If you have more to say, you're welcome to send an email to board members expressing your thoughts in greater detail. Devin, who's first on our list?
At this time, we have 17 attendees, and no one is using the hand raise or Q&A feature to indicate they'd like to make a comment, and we do not have anyone signed up in advance.
Devin, I do see one person, Maylee Austin, that looks like they have a hand up.
I think I'm happy to promote them. I believe they're here for another item.
Got it. Okay. Well, in that case.
Maylee, I've given you the opportunity to unmute. Is there something that you'd like to address in public comment, or are you here for item 8?
I just wanted to introduce myself because I'm opening up a store and I don't know when is my turn to speak, so I'll just wait for you to speak first.
Perfect, thank you. We'll promote you shortly.
Okay. Heather, the con is yours.
Great. Let's start with approving the meeting minutes from February 8th. Any comments from select board members? Any edits before I move approval? Seeing none, I will move approval of the meeting minutes from February 8th, 2022. All those in favor? Bernard?
Aye.
Raul?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Miriam?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Then I will move to the rest of the miscellaneous agenda, which is actually not that long. Approving an extra work order related to contract, yada, 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 sewer system repairs in the amount of $15,074.65 with D'Alessandro Corporation. Approving the following appropriation transfer request within the assessing division from permanent full-time $10,000 to consulting services $10,000. Approving an extra work order related to Catlin Road emergency water main rehabilitation in the amount of $18,263.32 with N. Grani and Son Incorporated. All those in favor say aye. Bernard?
Aye.
Raul?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Miriam?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. now we're going into our calendar items, and I believe we have one interview this evening for the Advisory Council on Public Health. Devin, is James Perrin with us?
Hi, James. You've been promoted to a panelist. You can unmute and share your video if you're comfortable, and your interview will begin.
Welcome, James. What we usually do is allow you to talk about your background and your interest in the board or commission, and then we'll open it up to questions. If you can try to keep that to under 2 minutes, then we can get into more back and forth.
Thanks very much, and thanks for the opportunity to talk with you this evening. I'm very interested in serving on the Brookline Advisory Council on Public Health. I'm a general pediatrician, a long-term resident of Brookline, and very active in trying to improve health for children, youth, and families, both in Massachusetts and nationally. Here in Massachusetts, for the past 3 years, I've led the development of the Massachusetts Child and Adolescent Health Initiative, which is a multi-sector collaboration that includes families, healthcare advocates, child health professionals, educators, mental health specialists, among others. And that group has worked very closely with our state's Medicaid program to improve programs that address prevention, including in mental health, the engagement of families and community health workers, and investments to address housing and nutrition for young families with a lens on health equity across our work. The changes that are coming in Mass Health will be good for the families of Brookline who receive their healthcare coverage through Medicaid in the state. I've also worked in other public health areas here in Massachusetts, and also with the Federal Maternal and Child Health Bureau, the Social Security Administration, the American Academy of Pediatrics, and the National Academy of Medicine. I'm particularly interested in the burgeoning mental health crisis in the US and here in Brookline, and how the town can work to improve the mental health of our community. My background gives me skills and experience that I think would serve me well on the Brookline Council, and I'd be happy to go on and really discuss more background and answer your questions.
Great, thank you so much. Any questions from select board members? My standard favorite question is, how did you find out about this opportunity?
So I've lived in Brookline for quite a few years and have been involved in some activities here in Brookline, but I've become increasingly interested in the workings of the town over the last 4 or 5 years, and have learned from some of you and others about how the town works. And I'm particularly interested now in seeing if I can be of service to the families and communities that we live in.
Great.
I heard about this specifically by other people who've been very active in the town and encouraged me to look into it.
Got it. That's how we do some of our best recruiting.
Right.
Miriam.
Thank you. So I would love to hear a little bit more about your health equity work. How do you center it? There are lots of ways, obviously, to think about health equity. I think the default is the social determinants of health, but I really think we need to move the conversation beyond social determinants of health. So I'm just wondering where you sit in that.
Sure.
That'd be great to hear. Thanks.
Sure. Well, of course, social determinants are important, and we've worked a lot on specifically dealing with housing and nutrition for young families. You may know that the population, the age group most at risk of being homeless in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts are children ages 0 to 1. And we have that problem here in the town of Brookline as well. But I think it goes way beyond just addressing and thinking about social determinants. I mean, the approach that I have taken throughout my life and career has been to really link the healthcare sector much more actively with the community at large, and to really understand how to make partners with the community that really is providing a variety of services that can be really helpful to children and families and older people as well. And I'd finally say that, I do a lot of work on Medicaid here in Massachusetts and nationally. Medicaid is a great program, tremendously important, but it also, because of some of its characteristics, it has continued to enforce structural racism in America's healthcare system. And that's something I'm working on very actively to see if we can change that.
Well, I'm absolutely shaking my head in agreement. Yeah.
Any other questions from select board members? Well, we are hoping to make appointments on this body because it is well used and very relied upon these days. So thank you very much for your interest. We will
Great.
be in touch.
Thanks so much, and I appreciate the opportunity to talk with you tonight.
Great, thank you. So we have a number of items this evening, and the next item is not a public hearing, so we can take it. Tax certainty agreement. I believe Kara Bruton is presenting.
No, actually, Heather, I think I'm going to be
Oh,
presenting.
okay. Hi, Jonathan.
Hi there. I think Kara was going to tag team this with me, and Jennifer Gilbert was going to be on representing the developer. Not sure if I'll just wait a second.
Okay, take your time. We're very ahead of schedule.
Okay, great. Okay, well, I think Devin just let me know that Kara is not here. So I think that certainly if anything does come up, we can always loop her in later. But I really don't think it's her presence here is mandatory. But basically, this is just a sort of a final step. Well, I won't say final step. Another step in developing the Waldo Durgan project. As you know, we amended the zoning to allow a large mixed hotel and residential development in Coolidge Corner, at the corner near Waldo and Durgan Street, redeveloping a number of parcels. As has been our practice for large scale sort of master plan redevelopments, we worked in conjunction with the developer to craft a zoning amendment, which was passed. Alongside that, we had a memorandum of agreement, which we executed and has been recorded. But there is a second piece that we also utilize, which basically, since we are intending that this is going to be a long-running development, and the developer has sort of one of the main benefits to allowing targeted redevelopment in this manner is realizing significant tax gains to our tax base. And so the tax certainty agreement, which you will be voting on today, allows us to lock that in, even if the parcels in question there's a change in use, because certain uses are tax exempt. The one is often brought up is if it's sold to a nonprofit. In addition, this is because it's at least part of the project is a hotel. The tax certainty agreement not only preserves the tax revenue for the real estate taxes, property taxes, it also preserves the excise taxes that we get for the hotel, even if there's a change of use and it ceases to be a hotel. Executing it today, the vote that I gave Heather, you would not only be voting to execute it, you'd also be voting to delegate to Mel the authority to sign on your behalf, because we do need a signature on a piece of paper, and you guys won't have to send anybody in the town hall who's not already going to be there. And then after it's executed, I will hold it in escrow, because pursuant to the terms of the MOA, the tax certainty agreement is not recorded until all permits are obtained by the development, and that includes ultimately the certificate of occupancy for the bulk of the project. So the intention is always that we'll execute this, we'll just hold on to it until the project's completed, and once they're rolling, we record it and we give ourselves that extra layer of protection. Ideally, though, of course, this will go on record and will never be used, because it only triggers if, like I said, there's a change in use.
So is it like a safety deposit box? Like,
I would call it a safety net more. That if something happens and we fall off the tightrope, though I would never characterize this development as a tightrope. Our property taxes are caught in a safety net.
No, I was talking about the actual document.
Oh,
since the permits haven't been, executed. So where does this document actually physically exist? Is it an online document, or do you actually put it in something with like a lock and key?
We don't put it in a lock and key, because since both parties are agreeing to be bound by it. If it were to, something were to happen, there would be certainly a, I think both parties would just re-execute a version of it. But no, it'll be kept in our files, and our office has a number of all sorts of privileged materials, so we keep a pretty secure lock. Everyone's doors are locked if they're not in the office, that sort of thing. So, if you guys want to give me a couple, $100,000 for a giant vault, we could install something, but I don't think that's necessary. We've got our budget meeting this Friday, Bernard. I'm not putting that on the agenda. So.
Miriam.
Yep.
Oh, you'll have to
So
unmute.
yeah, I'm just asking, I'm confused a little bit, or maybe I'm not, and I'm just asking for clarification. So let's say it's not a hotel and some entity like a school or some, tax exempt, it becomes used for something that is generally tax exempt. Are they then no longer tax exempt? Who's responsible for those taxes if a tax exempt use ends up happening?
That's a great question. They are still tax exempt. What this allows for is a payment in lieu of taxes. It's a pilot agreement. So while they are still tax exempt, when this goes into the chain of the chain of record, so they're buying the property subject to this agreement. So if they're buying it and they know if they're going to buy it for a school, they're going to need to pay taxes as if they weren't, and moreover, as if they were a hotel for at least the portion that is going to be a hotel.
So they're doing the pilot, but they're obligated under this agreement to pay a certain amount regardless. Because my understanding is the pilot agreement, the tax exempt institution kind of decides how much it wants to pay us.
Yes, and I think while we have some very long-standing pilot agreements with various nonprofit entities in town, I think that the posture that both parties took in this arrangement is we're not planning to have this go into a nonprofit use, but it provides a level of comfort to town meeting that we're not allowing this massive development based on a promise of increased tax revenue and ultimately not realize that tax revenue. It's a way the developer can give us some much needed comfort in the run up to town meeting.
Thank you.
Oh, John.
Thanks. So I don't know if I missed this point in the presentation, but did you state for how long the certainty exists?
Oh, thank you. It's a 95-year tax certainty agreement, but pursuant to Massachusetts law, we can't have it last that long on its own. So it also has provisions that the parties will come back every 35 years and effectively re-record it.
And at what point was the amount of the tax certainty agreed to?
The tax certainty and the agreement is based on the taxes paid immediately prior to it entering the nonprofit status, for lack of a better word. So it's not set now. It's set based on what they had been paying in taxes when it goes.
So it's not a fixed number.
No. There's several calculations in it, but basically it's just based on the taxes they had been
Got
paying.
it. Okay, thanks.
Any other questions? Should we move to the vote language, or should we hear from the council for Waldo Jurgen? Jennifer, do you want to say anything before I move the language?
I just want to tell folks that the project is proceeding and that the planning board appointed a design advisory team. We have our second meeting with them, and that's going really well. And the plans have been revised based on the feedback we got from the design advisory team members. And we have our second meeting tomorrow evening with the DAT, and then we will apply for the special permit, go back to the planning board again, and then to the ZBA for the special permit permits that are required for the project. So things are moving. Right now, the estimated time of completion would be probably either late 2025 or early 2026 for completion. So things are moving along, and I want to thank Jonathan for his assistance with this piece. Thank you.
Great, thank you. If there are no other comments or questions by members, I will move the language that Jonathan did provide. Okay, I move to execute the tax certainty agreement between Chestnut Hill Realty Pleasant LLC and Waldo Street LLC and the town as contemplated by warrant Article 15 of the 2019 annual town meeting, and to delegate the town administrator the authority to sign the agreement on the board's behalf. All those in favor: Bernard,
Aye.
Raul,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Miriam,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Moving along to lodging house license. New agents. I believe we have Andrew Brown and maybe Julie Roth. Good evening.
Good evening.
So remind me, which property are you representing?
1876 Beacon Street,
Great, okay.
the Tony town of Brookline.
Okay. Do you want to just give us a brief overview of who you are and what you're hoping we will vote on here tonight? I believe it's new agent, but just want to be sure.
Yes, my hat is in the ring to be officially the site manager here at 1876. I am born and reared in St. Louis. I'm educated at Brandeis University, and I am a polyglot. I am handsome and very humble. And that's about all you're going to get now, unless you have questions.
I love it. I like you already. Any other?
I mean, who wouldn't, really?
I know. Hey, I learned a long time ago, you got to be your own champion. Any questions or comments from select board members? Do you have any experience being is it a lodging house agent?
A lodging house agent or property manager?
Property manager?
No, this will be my first go around at it.
Okay. Bernard?
Yes, Mr. Brown. What issues or concerns do you have going into this position? And for example, issues with the surrounding community that has come before this board a few times.
Issues with the surrounding community.
All right.
That's big.
Okay,
and just very look,
the abutting community members.
Look, very, very frankly, African American male in liberal Brookline. I know the history of the former fire chief, the former African American fireman. That concerns me.
Okay, I'm talking about issues with respect to things like trash disposal.
Okay, so let's narrow that. So
and
very good.
Other conflicts between a rooming house and neighbors who abut that rooming house. I'm sure you've heard of some of the issues that have come up before this board.
I have not heard of issues that have come up before this board. I do know that there is, as I sit and I look, people maybe give a side-eye glance to 1876. I mean, I'm aware of that. I'm also aware that since I've come on, there can be leverage in the us versus them. You mentioned garbage, and it's a topic within this house when our garbage is better than their garbage. When our trash can and recycling is covered orderly, and our neighbors' situation is not. And so that kind of us versus them can work. And if I'm not on point, let's press forward until I get to an issue or addressing something that that is at the kernel of what we're looking for.
Are there any other questions by board members? I can elaborate. I think I know where Bernard was trying to go, which is that we have a number of lodging houses in Brookline. And the ones that I think he had in mind are closer to St. Mary's. I believe your address 1876, that's past Washington Square, correct? Outbound.
Right. I'm up at a couple of doors from the circle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
From
no,
time,
I appreciate that, but yeah, I think there are issues that some people have with lodging houses, no matter where. And
Bernard, I was speaking, so if you could
okay, well, you're
try to
off track
respect
of what I was
me.
getting at. Okay,
Well, if you disagree with what I say, feel free to use the hand raise feature and I will call on you
so
again.
just go ahead.
So from time to time, we'll have hearings like this one. Most of our licensing is yearly, so abutters are made aware that the license is up for a variety of businesses, including our lodging houses each year. And some of the neighbors take that opportunity to complain that there are noise issues and they can never reach the property manager, or there's trash issues and they try to contact the property and nothing is done about it, or there are safety issues, people that don't look like they belong. Those are the types of issues that you'll probably be confronted with on a daily, hopefully just weekly basis. But we didn't want you to be completely blindsided that those are the types of issues that have been kind of ongoing. I'm going to recognize Miriam and then Bernard if you want to follow up with anything that I said. Okay, Miriam.
So first, it's very nice to meet you. My original question was going to be, what languages do you speak? But I have something more pertinent to say, which is, the particular lodging house that you are taking over for, as far as I know, we have not heard any complaints about. I think it's important to merge both what Heather has just said and actually how you originally answered Bernard's question, because those two things are not in isolation of each other. And so I think understanding that, in fact, we have problems with racism in this town and how that both affects and doesn't affect our lodging houses, that's a really important insight that you clearly have. So I appreciate that. I want to acknowledge what you said, because I think it's very important that you understand that at least I've heard you, and that this select board has heard you. And I think that that's a vital to being successful in this role, is understanding the real environment. So I welcome you.
Thank you very much. I think that, I'm sorry, go ahead. I'll yield the floor.
Oh, I was just going to do the vote, but please, if you want to say something before I move the language for you to be approved.
Oh boy, this is a perfect opportunity to put my foot in my mouth, isn't it? Yeah. I think it's a really great thing that there are rooming houses in a town such as Brookline. I just think that no place is perfect, right? But that there would be this expression of intentionality, I think it speaks well of a lot of things. One is the wanting to be inclusive, wanting to literally invite in folks who would otherwise be excluded. And so je parle français, yo hablo un poco de español. Wo we sho idiom poto hua que sho wo poto hua shodo po hao. Me lo elinika lijo. And I could keep going, but I'll stop right there.
That's 4. That's pretty impressive.
Well, while I have some leverage, if you are the lodging house agent, aka the property manager, does that mean that you are technically a Brookline resident? Are you living there?
Yeah, I'm here now.
Excellent. We have some board and commissions. I'll send you a list if that's okay. We should get you on some sort of body that does something in town. If I can talk you into that.
Well, I am shy and retiring. I'll do my best to come out of the shell for those purposes.
Okay, excellent. Bernard and then Raul.
Yeah, just so there's no misunderstanding or suggestion that I wasn't speaking in a welcoming manner. I welcome you here also. And I think that Brookline having so many, or not so many, but a few lodging houses is a good thing and a credit to the community. And it really represents, what Brookline is, because we don't have the type of sort of NIMBY type, attacks on lodging houses that you see in some communities. People have serious and important, concerns like any neighbors would have. But so there's no question, no doubt in anyone's mind on this board or in the audience. Welcome to Brookline.
Raul.
I'll just say this is one of the more fascinating interviews that we've ever had on the select board. I am just phenomenally interested in learning more about you, and would love to invite you out for a cup of coffee. So I'll be sure to reach out, and hopefully we'll have a chance to do that.
Invite me too, please.
All right, fine.
Excellent. Well, without further ado, let's make this official. I move approving the application for lodging house agent Andrew Brown Jr. for 1876 Beacon Street. All those in favor, please say aye. Bernard?
Aye.
Raul?
Aye.
John? Maybe type the space bar. We'll circle back, John. Miriam?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. John?
All right, I'm
There we
unmuted,
go.
I think. Yeah,
Okay, yes, you are.
thank you. For some reason, my Zoom screen just disappeared. Aye.
Excellent. That's official. Welcome.
And I'm back.
Excellent. I'm sure a few of us will be reaching out to you very soon.
Way cool. Thank you so very much.
Of course. Take care. Okay. And let's see. Julie Roth for 1087 Beacon Street. Welcome. If you want to say a little bit about yourself and the property that you hope to manage.
Hi, my name is Julie, and I'm looking to manage 1087 Beacon Street. I've worked here for a few years now, so I'm very familiar with the ins and outs of working at a lodging house or the inn, and I'm looking forward to this opportunity.
Excellent. Any questions or comments from select board members? Bernard.
Okay, at the risk of someone jumping down my throat again, tell me, give me your sense of, what type of issues you anticipate running into as in your position at the lodging house. That's an open-ended question that's designed to sort of give me a sense of how you view the position and how you should interact with the community as well as even town government.
Sure. I mean, I've had very good experiences with the people who have stayed at the inn for the most part. I know, sometimes there are issues in terms of loudness or things like that. Yeah, making it a good experience for all people who stay at 1087. And so, making sure that everyone's safe and following regulations as they should be followed, and yeah, creating a good experience for everyone overall.
Excellent. Do you have any experience working with difficult personalities?
I was a teacher for 5 years in public school systems.
So that would be
I
a
do
yes.
have I have experience working with all sorts of populations. I loved my public school teaching years. But yes, I do have classroom management is very similar to dealing with working with some difficult personalities. You see all sorts of things as a young female in public school systems. So I do have that experience. I'm a little nervous tonight, but I didn't expect to have to speak, to be honest.
No worries. No worries. We love having teachers and former teachers. You are going to be a resident of Brookline?
Yes.
If you have this position? Okay, well, we will send you a list of boards and commissions as well. Really double down. Any other questions before I move for the official language to be adopted? Seeing none, I will move for approving the application for lodging house agent Julie Roth for 1087 Beacon Street. All those in favor? Bernard?
Aye.
Raul?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Miriam?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks.
Have a very good evening. Okay. Ooh, secondhand store license. This is what I like to see. I have been grieving the loss of Second Time Around ever since it left Coolidge Corner. So
You have been to Buffalo Exchange though, right?
not really. I really need to get out more. So, oh, is this Mei Lee? Devin, I see her twice. That might explain why she had such an echo when she tried to speak during public comment.
Hi, Mealy. We're just, I saw that you were here twice, so I do want to promote you and then have you unmute one of your devices and we'll give that a try.
Okay, I think, hi. I don't know if you can still hear the echo. I can.
Yes, so we can hear you, but we're hearing you with a little bit of an echo. So it seems like you might be signed in on two devices. Do you have a laptop and a tablet or maybe your phone?
Let me turn my phone off. Maybe.
Yeah, thank you.
Is this better? No.
No.
I don't know what to do because I don't have anything else on.
So is your phone, were you perhaps maybe logged into the meeting on your phone?
I may have been, but I turned it off. So I don't know how to.
What I'm gonna do is remove your second device. How about now? Do you want to try talking?
I can. Is this better?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Devin is a miracle worker.
Hi, everyone. So nice to meet you. I'm so pleased to be here and thank you for having me. My name is Maylee Austin and I own a company called Zone Designs. I'm a stager and interior designer and I have been working with many realtors in this area in Brookline for past 10 years. And I want to open a second hand store, meaning using the props that have been used for staging, that have been brand new bought 3 or 4 times. And then I would take them to my store in Brookline and sell them to people who can't afford West Elm or, all those really brandy stores. I would be so delighted to also offer my services and not only via realtors, but exclusively to people who can't afford stages for like $3,000, $10,000. And so if anyone needs any advice, please come. I will be open probably from April if you allow me. And that's about it. If you have any questions, I'm here.
Thank you so much. And I'm so glad that we were able to fix the technical difficulty. One of the things that I love the most about secondhand items is the lower carbon footprint, right?
Yes, yes.
So I'm just so delighted to see this business model come back to Brookline. So very excited to see this. Any comments or questions by other board members? Miriam.
Totally unrelated. I have to go pick up the other child, so I'm going to switch back to my phone. Sorry, Devin.
Okay.
And I'll shop at your store. I love secondhand clothes. I have a teenager. She loves secondhand clothes. I'm coming back on my phone. Bye.
Okay. Raul.
Yeah, to that point, I just want to make sure, I think we're talking about here secondhand furniture, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And items. It looks like furniture that's been used to stage homes that were for sale and things of that
Yes.
nature. Got it.
My
Yes.
apologies. Thank you. I still also like secondhand furniture.
All right.
Maybe my teenager, not so much.
She will get to like it.
Especially when she sees the price and
Right,
she's spending her own
exactly.
money.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So it will be not only furniture, but like soft items like throw pillows and lamps and paintings and whatever I have been using for prior staging. I also live in Brookline for past 13 years, and this is my community. My son went to Brookline High and Pierce. So my husband is a realtor working for Coldwell Banker. So it's like a family thing here.
So what was at 146 Boylston? Just
That was before, I think a shop, something to do with the beauty salon or something.
where
And-
does it fall? Kind of close to the reservoir, or is it
Oh,
closer to
it's
Star
closer
Market?
to La Mora Italian restaurant. I don't know.
Got
if
it.
you're familiar. Yeah, so it's more towards Firehouse and that part.
Okay, so this would
Opposite
be
of-
considered Brookline Village.
Yes,
Yeah, it looks like it's right by Liner Tire.
Okay,
that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah,
excellent.
yeah.
Great. Any other questions before I move the language to make this official? Okay, so let's do it. I'm moving approving the application from Zone Designs LLC for a secondhand articles license at 146 Boylston Street, Brookline, Massachusetts. All those in favor? Bernard,
Aye.
Raul,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
and I know Miriam wanted to vote aye. So I'll try to do it on her behalf. The chair votes aye.
I'm sure you can do that.
Thank you
Thank
so
you so
much.
much.
Okay, thank you. Good night. Have a nice evening. Bye.
Good evening, Stephanie.
Good evening. How is everyone? Nice to be here.
Very good.
Good. So do you want to, should I just go right into it or?
Yep, just go right into it.
All right. So our client is Barushi LLC. I was here a month or so ago seeking a liquor and a common victualler license, which the board approved. And after that was approved with the DBA of Yumi, the client decided to change the name of the upcoming sushi restaurant to XOXO Sushi, which is pronounced So-So Sushi. And they like the way it sounded. So we're here just for a simple change of DBA from Yumi to XOXO Sushi for 1154 Boylston Street.
Great. Any questions? Comments? Pretty straightforward.
Pretty straightforward.
Okay. So if there are no objections, I will move the approving the application for a change in doing business as from Barushi LLC to doing business as, is it Yume?
It was Yume, and now it's XOXO Sushi.
Oh, XOXO. Okay. From Yume to XOXO Sushi at 1154 Boylston Street.
And you pronounce it Josho, correct?
That's right.
So?
Josho.
I was told it was so-so, but I mean, I don't have any experience in the language, so I'll take your word for it, Bernard.
I'll take my word for it.
I actually took a Mandarin class because I live with native Mandarin speakers. I think it's pronounced xiao xiao, but I could be very off.
The two of us.
And Heather, I'm here. I can vote.
Okay. Oh, great. Excellent. All those in favor of changing the doing business as, say aye. Bernard,
Aye.
Raul,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Miriam,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Was there a second? No, that was the only vote for you tonight. So
That's it for
thank
me.
you.
Thank you so much, guys. Have a good night.
Great. Okay, so I think this last agenda item, no, we are not at the last agenda item. Great. Okay, so we are actually on time. This is an entertainment license for a new common vic.
It's an existing restaurant that's being transferred to a new owner. So we're approving both the common victualler and the entertainment license for this new operation.
Excellent. Sue Wang, do you want to tell us a little bit about what you're here to accomplish here tonight and a little bit about your business?
Hi, my name is Sue Wang. I'm running the Cayuga Japanese restaurant at 1030 Commonwealth Avenue, and I luckily have a opportunity to run the T. Anthony's Pizzeria as a new owner, so which is a few stores down. So I'm very excited. Hopefully I run as or better than Camilla and Joe, who ran for more than 50 years because they want to retire.
So wait a minute. Does this mean there won't be pizza?
There will be pizza. I'm not gonna make a pizza, but I'll get all the Camilla's recipe. I'll make it same or could be better. So Italian meets Asia. I'm just kidding. So I'm gonna keep it as how they are.
Challenge accepted. I can't wait to see what this better version is. Any comments or questions from select board members? Seeing none, I will. Did you want to speak?
Madam Chair, my name is Chris Coleman. I am the attorney for the applicant.
Okay.
If you didn't have any questions, I'm fine. I just to give you a little overview of the place. I'm not sure if you're aware of the size of the place or how many seats. Nothing's going to change, so I don't know if that matters much. But 2,000 square feet, 100 seats, no layout change, no seating change. The menu will be all the same. The employees, in fact, are going to stay on. So there's really going to be no change except for Sue will be the manager there. So it won't be easy, very easy for her to go down and take care of things down there. 5 to 8 employees, hours of operation, Monday through Thursday, 7 a.m. to 1 a.m. On Friday, Saturday, 7 a.m. to 2 a.m. And then on Sunday, 8 a.m. to 1 a.m. She's got great restaurant experience. I mean, she's been here since 2003 as the assistant manager. I realize the cuisine is different, but ordering food and managing employees is there's a crossover there. So I don't think she'll have an issue with that. The entertainment is really radio-based music and a jukebox. The TV that they have is actually for the kitchen staff, so it's not going to be out there for use. And that's it. So if you have any questions, be happy to answer them.
Well, I did see that our town administrator had his hand up briefly. Mel, did you want to make a comment?
I just wanted to, first of all, welcome Sue. And I think it's important that we sort of acknowledge the transfer of a long-standing restaurant in Brookline, really iconic place, BU hangout for sure. And one they treat the town very well a lot of times when we're out there working and off hours. T. Anthony's always been a great asset to the town. So look forward to the new ownership, but I wanted to acknowledge and thank the longtime owners of this very great establishment.
Raul?
Yeah, likewise. I mean, that is it is just a classic location. It's a great place to go before and after sports games at BU. I know the athletic department spends a lot of time there, and the athletes and the rest of us too. The breakfast is my favorite actually. So it's always a good spot. I like what's happening in that strip. I just want to say between your other spot, Fire Chicken, Fuel coming into the Dunkin' Donuts spot, it looks like. And we've got a couple of dispensaries that are opening up there as well. But that's been a place that I'm just excited to see all these new businesses that are coming into that strip there, and I think they're all going to benefit one another. And really excited to see your leadership of this really classic place. So thank you and good luck.
Great. And thank you so much for keeping existing staff on. It's very nerve-wracking to be faced with a change and not know how that's going to affect you. So I'm sure your employees are appreciative that they don't have to make other arrangements. So let's make this official. I move approving the application of a common victualler for T. Anthony LLC doing business as T. Anthony Restaurant at 1016 Commonwealth Ave. Hours of operation will be Monday through Sunday, 7 a.m. to 2 a.m. Seating will consist of 100 inside seats. All those in favor? Bernard?
Aye.
Raul?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Miriam?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. And then the second vote, approving I move approval of the application of a new entertainment for T. Anthony LLC doing business as T. Anthony Restaurant at 1016 Commonwealth Ave. Entertainment will consist of radio, jukebox, and television music Monday through Sunday, 7 a.m. to 2 a.m. All those in favor? Bernard?
Aye.
Raul?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Miriam?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. I can't wait to come check out the jukebox.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent. Okay, we are 5 minutes ahead of schedule for the last item before us. What do members want to do? Should we take a bio break?
Might as well.
Okay.
Yeah, my
I
age,
vote
I'm
bio
always
break.
good.
Okay. So my apologies, Andrew. We will reconvene at 8:30 when this was Ian, when this was properly noticed.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Great.
I'm back. I had to pick him up at the high school. In the 600 meters. Thank you very much.
That is excellent. And we are back on time. Thank you so much for waiting for us. So this is a noise bylaw waiver hearing. Andrew and Ian, do you want to just kind of recap what you're here to ask this board for? And I want to acknowledge Tony Quigley, who's our project manager in our building department. So if he has anything to add, he can feel free to do that as well.
I'd like to start, if I may, Madam Chair.
Of course.
So this is, as you all may know, I'll be very brief. I sort of inherited the high school projects, and I say projects because there's more than one, with Ray's recent retirement last month. And one of the things we're trying to do is get the summer work organized and out to bid and successfully designed and completed. And one of the things that is interesting about the summer work, the third floor renovation and the quad renovation, is it's quite a bit of work in a short time frame. And it's one of the last pieces of the high school project that needs to get done. And it's not the glamorous part of the project, but it's important nonetheless. And it's been, you know, the team here, joined by my colleagues, Ian Parks from Hill, who's the OPM, and Andrew Jonick from William Ron Architects. I'm going to tell you in a minute why they believe it's absolutely necessary for us to have a relief on the bylaw in order to get the amount of work done. I think it's over $6.5 million for the total amount of work, and the quad alone is about 1.2 million. And most of that has to happen in the 2 months of the summer, but which is a huge amount of work to do. But some of it would happen beginning as early as May and June, mostly the demo work in the third floor. We've made arrangements with the schools for them to give us that space. So without anything further, unless you have questions of me, I'll turn it over to Ian or Andrew to give you some more information.
Sure. Why don't I share my screen and share a couple of slides to present the project to you all. One moment. If the host could allow screen sharing, that'd be great.
Should be all set.
Okay, thank you. And as Tony said, I'm Andy Jonick, a project architect with William Ron Associates. Can everyone see the site plan of the high school?
Yes, we can.
Excellent. So as Tony mentioned, this is it's an interior renovation of the third floor of the high school. It also includes repairs to the quad that's surrounded by the entire building at 115 Greeno. Again, as Tony mentioned, work is planned to begin in May, mostly demolition work. Go to the next slide here. There we go. So the work plan for May, this is when school is in session. So we have worked with the high school. There will be an area partitioned off at this end. It's the interior demolition of 4 of the classrooms to prepare it for an interior renovation. The work will take place throughout the day, and we are planning on 2 shifts. So the first proposal here is to work on weekdays from 7 o'clock in the morning until 11 o'clock at night. So that would be a 4-hour extension to working laws beyond, working time hours beyond the noise bylaw.
What is the current noise bylaw cutoff time? Is it 10?
Mine is
7 p.m.
11?
7
Oh,
p.m.
7 p.m. Okay.
Yes, 7 to 7, Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 5 p.m. Saturdays, Sundays, and legal holidays. That's my recollection of it.
Great, thank you.
So giving the contractor may choose not to work that entire time, but we would like to give them the opportunity to speed up their efforts given the short time frame. So that's for the month of May. During the month of June, I apologize, this is a little slow. During the month of June, the demolition work would extend to these areas. It's about 6 more classrooms. Again, this is all interior inside the high school. And they may start, construction work in these rooms. And there are no, for this area, there are no, interior partitions being demolished there. These classrooms will have new ceilings, so the existing ceilings are coming out, some of the casework. So it's mostly cosmetic renovations inside. Then moving to phase 3 for July and August. The work expands to the full scope, so the students will not be in the school. The contractor will be working on upgrades to the classrooms and the corridors throughout the 3rd floor. The spaces that are not in the yellow highlighted area were renovated last summer, so there's no work in those spaces. The other major component part of this project is work in the quad. And because there are egress stairs and pathways through the quad, this work can really only take place during July and August when there are no students in the building. And the primary point of access is through off of Greeno Street through the north gate, vehicular access here. And it's work in the quad. It's planned to be completed by August 26th. So, we are requesting a waiver from the bylaw by the select board for those evening hours on weekdays or night hours, 7 to 11 p.m. And then on the weekends, if the cutoff is 5 o'clock, an additional hour till 6 p.m. On the weekends.
Raul?
Sure. Thanks for the helpful context. I'm wondering if you can just describe the kind of noise that can be expected, particularly focusing in on those extended hours that we'd be providing a waiver for. What's going to be happening that the neighbors, the abutters, the public would hear? What's that going to sound like?
Why don't I start with phase 1. So during the month of May, this part of the project, there are some walls that are being demolished. So within this area of the building, which is right above Schlunt's Gym, they may be using, we don't know exactly what the contractor will be using, but tools, they'll be using sawzalls, some sledgehammers, probably within the building to tear down some of the existing walls. If they so choose to bring some of the debris either down to Lowell Road or out to Welland Road, they may be dumping some of the debris into dumpsters during those hours. But I would say that's the extent of the work during the month of May where they're generating noise. And I would say it's similar for the month of June. this is, but there are no partitions being removed in these classrooms. So I would say less noise. It's really removal of furniture and some casework, countertops, and the ceilings. And then moving on to the summertime. Again, these are interior, no partitions are being changed. By this point of the project, it's all, they're putting in ceilings, flooring. I'd say the most amount of noise that might be generated would be from the quad, but this is also, bordered by the high school on all sides and faces Cypress Field. So there may be trucks backing up in here, or mini excavators. They're replacing the hardscaping in the quad. So using smaller machinery to load up that material and take it out onto Greeno Street.
Miriam?
Thank you. So I have a few questions. The first is, so just so that I'm clear, the request for the waiver is to extend the hours Monday through Friday by 4 hours and Saturday and Sunday by an hour. Is that correct? Is there an expectation that the decibels will also be kind of out of ordinary? And I'll ask my second question. You can answer them all at once. And then the second question is there a plan or effort to communicate to the abutters that this is going to be going on? And what would that be? Thank you.
To answer the first question, I honestly don't know if the work within the building would reach a decibel level that exceeds what's in the bylaw. My sense is if they're dumping material, dropping things off, backing up trucks, the beeping sounds of the trucks, the depositing of material in the dumpsters would most likely be the loudest noise. In the quad, if they're removing the brick pavers, they're doing that with mini, like small Bobcat equipment. There is some concrete in here that they may be using a jackhammer to remove. So that could be exceeding the decibel level, but it's unclear to me if you're standing out on Welland Road, how much of that you would hear it, but whether or not it exceeds the decibel level, I'm not sure.
John, and then Tony.
And the second question about communicating to butters.
Oh, yes, sorry.
I take that one.
Yes, Tony.
So in advance of this meeting, my colleague Russ, who's at the high school, and I personally delivered 110 notices of this meeting. So that would be, that's not sure if there's other communication that would be desired, but we did try to blanket the neighborhood as much as possible, with 110 different flyers with some detailed information, not just a typical flyer. We actually had some description of the work in there. And we also emailed and mailed to the town meeting members in this precinct.
Tony, in the Q&A, a couple of abutters have said that the address was listed as 111 Cypress.
Yes, the initial agenda for this meeting, this hearing, had 111 Cypress Street. That was corrected in a subsequent agenda update to 115 Greeno. So there is no work going over. There's no work on a new building associated with this specific project over on the 22 Tappan, which used to be 111 Cypress, I guess. So That was just a typo that was in the information earlier that was subsequently corrected on the agenda.
Thank you. John?
Yes, could somebody remind me of what problem are we solving by extending these hours?
The challenging schedule to complete, it's about, as Tony said, $6.6 million of work. The quad, that work can really only be done during July and August. And the bulk of the third floor renovation will happen when school lets out in July and August. So meeting the tight schedule so that faculty and students are in there just before school starts in September.
Okay, that seems like a good thing. But it does look as though the residents on Lowell Road and Welland Road are the ones that are most likely to be impacted. Is that where you delivered the notices?
I delivered them to all of Welland from, I think it's Stanton down to Tappan. Is that Stanton, the one that goes? Yeah. All of Welland. I also put some up on Davis and Blake. Tappan Street between the gym building in Welland, all of Davis. I already said Lowell, and some on Greeno.
Great. One of the things that occurred to me as you were describing your hours is that the 10 to 11 hour is the one that seems excessive to me, because I'm going to guess that if a survey were done, the number of people who go to bed at 10 is probably significant, and you're impacting all of those people by going the extra hour from 10 to 11. And I'm just wondering, since you only go until 6 on Saturday, and that isn't intruding on too many people's sleep time, is it possible to use a little bit more time on the weekend and cut back on the time you're doing during the week?
Tony, I don't know about you, but that seems like a fair proposal. If we add more time on Saturday, Sunday, and take an hour off.
Well, I guess my only concern with that would be, first of all, I don't want to sugarcoat this because it's going to be summertime. It's going to be hot, and the windows are going to be open in this part of the building, and they are going to be working. They are going to be making noise. I mean, that's just, you can't do $6 million worth of work that's requested by the schools in a very tight, we have to be we have very limited time frame given by them. So something has to give. And so I'm not going to sugarcoat. It's going to be noisy. Absolutely. And, but I think the idea behind the 7 to 11 on weekdays is perhaps to minimize time on the weekends for numerous reasons, because, and also I think it takes advantage of 2 full shifts when it comes to the labor during the week, rather than cutting down 1 shift by an hour. But, I would be interested to see what my colleague Ian has to say about that, if anything. But,
Yeah, that's kind of how we were looking at this, Tony, is that, it would be advantageous to have those 2 shifts Monday through Friday to maximize time on the weekdays, and work pretty much within the allowable hours on the weekends, with the 1 hour exception variance that we're asking for here. But the bulk of the work is being planned Monday through Friday on those 2 shifts. So the first shift would be 7 to 3, and then the second shift would be 3 to 11 p.m. So just to speak a little bit on numbers here, we did a quick analysis essentially on the allowable working hours on Monday through Friday, 7 to 7. And that gives us about 1,000 hours in that time frame for May, June, July, and August for allowable working hours within the weekdays, within the current bylaws. If we were to get the variance, it would add that extra time, 7 to 11 p.m., which would be another 330 hours. So we're gaining almost a third of time in the evenings. So it's a considerable amount of time. Like everyone has said, it's a lot of work to get done in a short period of time. So we're really trying to maximize the opportunity for the contractor to be able to be successful and complete this project on time.
So I want to make a comment, and then I want to recognize that Raul has his hand up. John, are you done with your questions? Your hand is still up. Okay. So I have a little bit of experience working in the construction industry, and here is what I know based on my own firsthand experience. There are really only 13 good weeks in the Northeast for construction. And if this is a school project and there are kids on site, there's a lot of stuff that can't happen while you have people in the building. So the fact that you have a short construction season and even shorter because of the school year, I can certainly empathize with where this request is coming. The other thing is an hour for hour is not necessarily fungible when in construction. Once you start a job, sometimes you actually have to finish the job. You can't leave it overnight and come back to it. So tweaking the hours, I don't think is going to set this project up for success. But if somebody knows more about the intricacies of this project, I will defer to them. That's just my own experience. Raul?
Thanks, Heather. Yeah, I would just say, one of the things we ask when those doing the work is to think about how, when possible, some of the quieter work can be done in the extended hours and some of the louder work done during the normal hours. Just the other thing I was going to say is, I know we have members of the public, including looks like some abutters here, and maybe now or sometime soon would be a good time to hear from them.
Miriam?
I actually just wanted to bring attention to one of the questions in the chat, which I think is good, from Sheila Langerman, who asked about, will street parking be affected?
We would anticipate that the contractor will request some spaces to be occupied by dumpsters during the construction process.
And they will work through the town to get that.
That's right.
Let's go to members of the public, since this is a public hearing. If you have a question that you would like to say or comment, please notify Devin using the Q&A feature. Devin, are you aware of anyone that wants to speak?
Yes. So the first person signed up for public comment is Jerome Dado. I don't see him here in the attendee list, but I do want to let folks know, if you've chosen to join us via phone, that to raise your hand, you can press *9, and then you'll be able to unmute by pressing *6. So if anyone who's on the phone with us this evening would like to provide public comment during this hearing, that's how you would go about doing that. The first person who is with us this evening signed up is Karen Victor. You've been promoted to a panelist. You can unmute and your 3 minutes will begin.
So thank you. I'm speaking as a neighbor. I'm about a block away from the construction at Stanton and Lowell, and I'm hoping most of the noise won't come to us, but I'm speaking up on behalf of my neighbors who will be much more impacted. We'll probably get some truck traffic and that's it. But there's been growing awareness of the health and mental health consequences of lack of sleep on people. And there is absolutely no question that having noisy construction from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. 5 nights a week will really impact neighbors. I think it's not reasonable to conclude that, well, if we just back it up to 10 p.m., that's okay. I mean, there are kids, There are all sorts of people working different shifts. There are people who wake up very early for their jobs and go to bed very early. So we can't just presume that everybody is like the majority. I really think we should take this into account. I understand it's a short construction season, but I think there are other ways to solve it. And I think there's a reason for the ordinance saying that noisy work has to end at 7 p.m. And that reason is very well thought out, and I respect it. And I think we should really think about the mental health of quite a number of people who live nearby and the physical health. Thank you. Actually, one more thing I would just say, please make it very clear to those who are listening how they can participate and make comments, because that wasn't clear to me, and I'm not sure it's clear to all those who are listening. Thank you.
The next person signed up for public comment is Bob. You've been promoted to a panelist. You can unmute and your 3 minutes will begin.
Hey, thank you. Sorry, turn the volume up.
It sounds like you're
Thank you very
muted.
much. I just want to add to the comments. It's pretty ridiculous. There's only 8 hours of quiet. I would like to ask if the construction has to work for those hours, if there's any work they can do that's quieter, no jackhammers, no, some of the demolition work can be stopped at 8 or 9 p.m. so that those of us who are butters who work for a living can get a chance to get some sleep. It's pretty ridiculous. There's only 8 hours of quiet, particularly for people like me who leave early in the morning to go to work. And there must be a solution, a way to do the construction where they can have some noise limitations for the last couple of hours of the shift.
This time, I am going to promote Robert Goisman.
So if anybody wants to make a comment, let Devin know using the Q&A.
All right, I have unmuted a caller.
Hello? Hello?
Hi there.
Hello?
Hi there.
Yeah.
Can you just give us
this
your
is
name?
Jerome Sato.
Hi, Jerome. Thanks so much for calling in. You have 3 minutes.
Okay. I have been on both the video and audio, and some of the comments that people have made are in line with what is going on. Of course, we have been subjected to all this noise for over 2 years during the pandemic, and to have an extension from 7 to 11 is almost really an impossible situation when you're starting 7 in the morning when people are getting up to 11 o'clock when people are asleep. So I definitely would oppose any type of extension. I know there is a time difficulty, but it seems to me we have been subject in residential areas to really becoming an industrial zone. So I'm opposed to any type of extension from 7 to 11. And I know that I and my neighbors, if we can't get any satisfaction from the select board, would be considering going to court to try to limit this to no later than 6 o'clock at night, or maybe 7 o'clock, because the noise is horrendous, as we've experienced before, and with the jackhammers and other things going on right next to it. And our house is at the corner of Welland and Tappan. I know what this is experience. So I can't understand how you can possibly put this on for 16 hours a day on this already, squeezing things in and making our life even more of an industrial practice here after more than 2 hours during the pandemic already. So I and my neighbors are opposed to any type of extension from 7 to 11, and really to try to limit jackhammers and others towards the middle of the day rather than the beginning in the morning or late at night at 7 p.m. We're opposed to extension at night. That's what I have to say about that. Hello?
Thank you for your comment.
The next person signed up for public comment is Robert Goisman. You've been promoted to a panelist. You can unmute and your time will begin.
Someone else.
Okay.
Oh, thank you very
Got it.
much. I don't know that I have anything brilliant to add to the conversation so far, other than we have the clash of two social goods here. One of them is to expand our educational opportunities, and the other is to get a good night's sleep. And I think that the balance has just shifted a little bit too far in favor of getting this done quickly, and is taking inadequate degree of account of the mental health needs of the people nearby the project.
Who have been impacted mightily by the previous projects, which are not, some of which are not completed yet. I have one person who lives in our house gets up later in the morning because they work that second shift. So for them, that when they're going to be jackhammering at 7 a.m. in the mornings, that's going to be difficult. And I know I spoke to my neighbors who have an extremely handicapped child, and they thought this schedule was extremely rough for that child to be affected. And we're talking about somebody who we live kitty corner to the Schlunz gym. I mean, I'm looking at it now out my window, but maybe this project is too big for one summer. Maybe it's got to be done in 2 summers. I don't think I have anything else to say. I thought Karen was extremely eloquent.
Any other comments by members of the public?
That concludes public comment at this time.
Okay, so I will close the public hearing. John? You'll have to unmute.
So I'm feeling as though we don't have enough information here, because this time, first of all, I want to say Tony Quigley and the folks who supervise these building construction projects for the school department and the town are the tops. I mean, they are, what they have done so far is just amazing. So, you know, I salute them for everything that has preceded this. I haven't heard, at least to my ears, I have not heard a convincing case made as to how we suddenly got to a point in the project where everything has to be finished once. There's been a lot of accommodations made to a schedule of construction for this project that have involved waiting while parts of the project get finished. And people have figured out how to do that without having to impose on the neighborhood this really extraordinary period of nonstop noisy construction activity from first thing in the morning until after a lot of people are trying to get to sleep at night. So I really would like to have more information before we put this kind of an imposition on the neighbors. Somebody mentioned, you know, does this all have to be done, you know, by the return of students in the fall to the school, or could there be parts of the project that could be separated out and done at another time? I haven't heard a good answer to that question. So I'm waiting for more information before I make up my mind on this.
I think, and I guess I'd have to defer somewhat to the design team, but it's not readily evident to me how one would divide the project up into multiple summers. For example, I think Andrew mentioned the fact that the quad serves as a egress path for the school, emergency egress, while school is in session. So it's not readily evident to me how one would do part of that work and not get it all done in one shot and be able to provide safe access when the kids are back in school. Additionally, the classroom work is, again, it's not evident to me how you would do the demo in the classrooms and put some of the work off. And it's, you know, again, I'm new to this project for a month, and it's, you know, the people, this is part of the program to get the work done, to get the entire project done. And I don't know if the architect wants to jump in and add some, additional information on what his thoughts are on separating that out. But the other thing that's sort of different here, it's not different, but the other thing that's, we're under a time crunch. This thing has to be bid and presented for an award to the select board at the I think it's March 8th meeting. Yeah, March 8th meeting, in order to get anything done this summer. So that's kind of where we're at right now.
I will also add, this is an MSBA project, if I'm not mistaken. No, it's
No,
not?
this is not. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
But there are deadlines when it comes to spending public funds. And you can't just decide to not do work. Oh, sorry. You can't decide to not do work from one fiscal year to the next and then just move the funds over. It doesn't work that way. So we have a deadline to make. I'm sure if we miss that deadline, then we have to figure out what we're going to do with those kids. We're going to have to find classroom space somewhere, lease it. And then, we're going to be spending even more money. I want to recognize Miriam and then Raul.
Thank you. So I'm just wondering, I don't know enough about construction. So I'm just wondering if there's a way to structure the project so that the higher noise inducing activities happen, earlier in the day, and by 7 or 8 o'clock, hopefully there are things that can be done off of the list that aren't, because I agree that with Heather, and I understand it has to be done. I get that. It's just, you just can't split it between 2 years. It's a great idea, but it's in reality, the logistics are not feasible, and the cost implications and the time implications and the complexity. At the same time, I wouldn't really want to be living next to a construction site with the noise going until 11 o'clock at night. So I'm just trying to think creatively about ways to mitigate that impact on the abutters. And, there must, you can correct me, I could be wrong, but there must be activities that can occur that create less noise that can be purposefully put off until the later hours. And, maybe it's just worth really highlighting that as an option or something we expect to happen if we grant this waiver. But again, I don't know enough about construction, so I could be wrong, but tell me.
Raul and then John.
Yeah, I just agree with what Miriam just said. I think we can't solve one problem by creating another potentially very expensive that also has tons of unintended consequences that we may not all understand sitting here at this moment. So just, I just don't think that makes sense. And I don't know exactly what other information we need to make a decision. It's a tough decision. I sympathize. In fact, I empathize with the people who've spoken tonight. We've got 2 construction projects going on right here and all kinds of noise and it's not even to create a school for the community. It's just people's personal projects going on. So it's terrible, and the folks in that community, that area have been going through a lot for a long time with the noise there. At the same time, I don't, this project's got to get done, and extending that out further to yet another summer doesn't make any sense to me and doesn't work for the project. As I said earlier, and Miriam just said, if there are ways, and there must be ways to think about how to do parts of the work that are less noisy in the evening, or work that is more, likely to be interior or something like that, then I think that's the way to go here, and to maybe for the project team to come up with a plan to be able to do that. But delaying this doesn't make any sense. Materials costs are going to increase. It's going to increase the cost of the project. None of that makes any sense at this point. The most important thing is to get this done. But if we can find ways to mitigate the sound that it's going to take to get that done, I think we should.
John, and then I have a question specifically for Tony.
So it's taken me till this point in the discussion to sort of put my finger on why this just doesn't kind of add up for me. And what I'm referring to is that there is a building committee for the high school project. There's also a building commission for projects such as the high school project that take place in Brookline. Have they reviewed this and determined that this is essential work that warrants a request that people in the neighborhood put up with 16 hours of construction noise a day? Because all I have right now is, of the two people who were here at this meeting, but I don't have the word of folks who have been watching over this project from the outset. And without that, I don't see, what ground I have to justify this request right now.
Well, the two co-chairs of that committee are not here tonight. I'm not exactly sure why. But if Nancy Heller disagreed with this, we'd hear from her. So I assume that the school building committee is well aware of this.
That's a pretty big leap. I mean, Tony, was this reviewed by the school building committee?
I would have to defer on the specifics on that to if Hill could give us some, or the architect, because as again, I'm relatively new to this, a month ago. I mean, all I know is, well, not all I know, but one of this is a very important project to the school program, and it's a lot of work. And if it's going to happen this summer, it has to be bid now. And if it's going to happen this summer, we have to have relief on the bylaw. That's all. That's what I'm here to tell you. If otherwise, it's not going to happen. If those two things, if we don't have, action on those two things, it won't happen.
Bernard?
Yeah, the likelihood that the school building committee went into the details of when construction is going to be scheduled is somewhat unlikely. I think that one of the speakers, I think, put it correctly, and that is we have a conflict between two public goods. Number one, people sleeping during construction, and number two, the need to build a high school or complete a high school. I don't think at this point we can go back on the second thing. This high school, this project has to be completed. And I think that, the best thing, or the thing that we ought to do, is to just instruct or urge Tony Quigley to work with the contractors to try to figure out ways to minimize the impact of the construction on the surrounding community. I mean, I trust Tony to be able to do that. There are a lot of things that can be done to minimize the noise and other problems that are associated with construction. And, for us to say that, or to deny this noise bylaw waiver, I think it would just be not only costly, but very kind of foolish. But I think we can ask Tony to work with the the contractors to figure out some solutions, some reasonable solutions. We're not going to make it perfect. I mean, some people sleep in the afternoon, so yeah, some people are going to be inconvenienced, but we can reduce that to some extent.
Tony, I remember a very noisy construction project in Washington Square a couple of years ago, where we had to bring in some noise blankets or something. Are you recalling this at all? It was through the summer. Maybe it was putting something underground on Washington Street, and we got a lot of complaints about the noise because they were working through the night.
Was it a public, one of our building department projects?
I don't think it was a building project. I actually think it was a roadway project. It was either MBTA or
a utility.
maybe Eversource. I think it was an Eversource project. This was
Mm.
probably the summer of 2018, um, maybe 19. But that doesn't really matter. There are ways to address noise, correct? Like there are buffers and blankets and things that we can do to try to minimize the noise.
And I will say, especially in the quad, as Tony said, it's construction, it will create noise, but the quad is surrounded, on 4 sides by the entire high school. So that noise is bouncing around in the quad, and it's, kind of traveling vertically. There is no work immediately adjacent to, the residences along Tap and along Welland, unless, as I said, they're taking, some of the waste material out of the 3rd floor and depositing it in a dumpster or something like that. And as Tony said, it will be hot in the summertime. They will have the windows open now on the 3rd floor renovation. But the outdoor work in the quad, it's I think the most noise is generated where they're coming out of that north gate onto Greeno, if there is any equipment in the evening.
So Andrew, correct me if I'm wrong, obviously in the quad, there's going to be heavy equipment in there. And as you said, it is somewhat buffered by the fact that it's got school around it on 4 sides. And I would imagine it's going to be largely buffered by that. But, I think personally that the most noise would be emanating from the 3rd floor. And what, would they be using jackhammers up there for the type of work we're talking about? I think honestly, on the 3rd floor, that the worst of that is the early part of the project when the demo happens. After they come in the hottest part of the summer, they're putting new work in. So you're going to hear tools and stuff, but it's not, I don't think it's going to be as noisy as it would happen, in the first couple months of the project, which is the demolition phase. But, I don't know what Andrew thinks of those comments or those thoughts, but.
Yeah, I'm in total agreement, Tony. That during the month of May, we're talking about something like, 100 linear feet of interior wall that they're demolishing. And these are walls from the 1990s that were built. So it's drywall and metal studs. It's not, they're not jackhammering, load-bearing masonry walls or anything like that. So as I said at the outset, that's more like, sawzalls pulling the drywall off of the studs, cutting the studs, which would generate some noise. But that work on the 3rd floor renovation is happening during the month of May, and then the balance of the demolition is removing countertops, the acoustic ceiling tiles, the acoustic ceiling grid, the lighting, the mechanical units that are hanging in the ceilings. There's in that space, they're not jackhammering anything.
How are they demoing the floor, the finished flooring?
They are scraping the VCT off of the wood substrate, and then they're putting down they're installing a 1/4-inch layer of plywood and then putting the finished flooring on that. So there's some scraping.
Would the VCT demo be mostly manual scraping of removing of those tiles? Do you think that's probably? Yeah.
That's what I would think.
Yeah, so I don't think, the type of heavy work that we're really talking about, I think, would be mostly in the quad. And again, that's sort of buffered by the 4 walls of the building. And that is limited to 2 months only, July and August. That has to happen in those 2 months. So I don't know if that, helps better describe what we feel the work and the noise levels would be.
John, and then I really would like to see if we have the votes.
Yes, I agree. It's time for that, and that's why I raised my hand. I would like to propose an amendment to the requested time frame to make the out time, the end time, 10 p.m. And just quickly, my reasoning is we're talking 16 hours a day of construction being reduced to 15. And we've also been talking about things that the construction crews can do to mitigate noise. And I think the most important thing they can do to mitigate noise is to figure out every way they can to squeeze 16 hours of work into 15 hours and to let people get some sleep after 10 o'clock at night.
So I would support that if somebody on the team can tell me that that's not going to push this project into another season.
Yeah, I think that would be acceptable. To reduce it to 10 p.m.
Okay. Thank you very much for working within that. Are the other board members comfortable with reducing it to 10 p.m.? Yeah. Okay, good. So I will move the language and I will adopt John's motion. So approving the noise bylaw waiver request for William Ron Associates Architects, Inc. for work on the Brookline High School expansion project at 115 Greeno Street from May 1st, 2022 through August 27th, 2022 on weekdays from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. and on weekends from 8:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. All those in favor, Bernard?
Yeah, could we also just instruct Tony Quigley or whoever to really work to minimize the remaining noise that's going to happen? I mean, there are things that can be done, and just ask them to do those things, so that even in this shorter period of time, we don't have excessive noise.
So Tony has been present for this discussion, and he is a professional and is the best that we have. I have full confidence that Tony will communicate that while administering this project.
Okay, so we don't need an amendment or specific language. That's fine by me.
I have a motion on the floor. Bernard?
Yes.
Raul?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Miriam?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Thank you very much.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tony. Thank you, everybody, and neighbors as well.
And I believe that is the conclusion of our select board meeting. Thank you very much and see you next week.